Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today's video I feel like would help some people. I've not seen much information on this type of stuff. When I was younger, a video like this would have really helped. I'm still learning every day, obviously, we all are. But when I was younger, I didn't know much about tools. And at first I was like, at first I started out buying kind of cheaper stuff, like as cheap as I could find because I didn't have that much money. And then I started realizing it was tearing up. Okay. So then I started trying to get the best stuff. And then I realized, well, I'm spending all my money and I'm not getting anything. So, and then I started kind of thinking differently. And that's kind of what I'm going to explain to you from my limited experience in life. I'm not that old yet, but I have a decent amount of experience because I've probably worked enough to be 60 years old in the past, 15 years I've been working, I guess. But yeah, and I really thought hard about this, and there is no one definitive answer for anything, any of these tools. It's all about really how you use your tools. If you know how to fix stuff, if you're willing to fix something and maintain it, if you're just buying something to use it one time, if you're buying something to use it every single day. So that's what I'm going to kind of, I guess, explain to you. I guess the mindset of that. Because like I said, when I was younger, I didn't know. I had no idea and I didn't know anything about tools. Nobody ever kind of really showed me this type of stuff. So hopefully you guys will get something out of this. I'm going to actually go through, I'm not going to go through all of my tools. I'll go through the majority of my tools and kind of explain why I have it. And maybe that will help you if you don't have any tools, or if you're looking into something, that'll help you, I guess, think about it a certain way. It's hard for me to explain what I'm trying to explain without going to it and showing you. So let's get into it right quick, shall we? So to start with, I'm just going to start going through my toolbox and explaining why I chose certain tools that I chose. Then we'll kind of move more to power tools and like pneumatic type stuff. And then I'll even go to some of my outdoor tools and explain some of those. So let's start with the toolbox. Now, before I get started with this, I just want to tell you guys, I'm not going to get in detail with this because I'll be talking about it for hours. And I know you guys are not here to watch me talk about tools for hours and hours. You're here to get some value out of it. So that being said, here are some hand tools that I use. I don't have any kind of high-end Snap-on or Matco or none of that stuff. I've used these tools very extensively. I was a maintenance guy for over 10 years, so I used a majority of these tools. I can't name a day that I work less than 6 days a week. So these things are at least getting used 6 days a week, sometimes more. So I just want to say that I want to tell you about the amount of money you can save if you can like, let's say you don't have any tools right now, but you know you're going to be getting into a field where you're going to need lots of tools, or you don't have any, but you want to get a good solid set and save some money. Buy as big of a set of tools as you can get. I just want to explain to you about, saving money and saving, when you're buying stuff like this. I want to put something in perspective. This little set of sockets at Harbor Freight, okay, this tiny little set right here, I'm thinking it's like 20 bucks or something, okay, $20. And I'm not talking about the Allens and all that, or this is a Craftsman. I'm talking about the colored ones, just these colored ones right here, over 20 bucks. This whole set right here, not the holders, that's something completely different, but from these extensions and this 1/4 inch set all the way up, metric and standard, I bought this, okay, I bought all of these wrenches, minus these 5 ratcheting ones. There's other ratcheting ones, but 5 of them is not with that set. That's standard in the top drawer, metric in this drawer. Minus these 2 and minus 5 of these ratcheting wrenches. Just about all of this, minus the red handled socket, or ratchet, sorry. And maybe half of these extensions, as well as these Allen wrenches, and something else. Oh yeah, it was a bit set right here, this bit set right here. I purchased all of those, all of that stuff that I just pointed at specifically. It was like a little over 300 bucks. Okay. Home Depot and Lowe's, and used to be Sears. I don't know if Sears is even around anymore. They might be online, I'm not sure. But stores like that, they have big sales in between November and January. You can get huge sets of tools. Saves you tons of money. I mean, if you divided these sockets, like I said, it's like 20 something dollars for these. If you divided these into, you know, these, and then did some multiplication, some division of that, long story short, you're going to find out you spent way more money than what you would have spent just buying a set of these. And these are Husky. Like I said, Lowe's has Cobalt. Sears used to have Craftsman. I think Lowe's has got Craftsman now. Anyways, they're all made by the same company, I'm pretty sure. But they have lifetime warranties. You break one of these things, got a lifetime warranty on it, so you can just take it back and get it replaced. I do want to mention, you don't want to get like cheap sockets, because I've seen too many times they are not machined right. They don't have a good coating on them, and they rust. These are getting rust on them, but these sockets are pretty old. I mean, they're maybe 10 years old or something like that. I'm not sure. They're close to that. But what I'm getting, you know, but if you got one of the cheap ones, you're looking at like weeks, not years, and it's rust, okay? And by not being machined correctly, what I want to talk about with is I've seen too many times guys who get cheap sockets, and, you know, if something's not machined right, when you put it on a bolt that's really tight, or if you're trying to tighten it, you got to exert a lot of force, okay, to loosen it or tighten it right. And what that's going to do, especially on soft bolts, you're going to round the heads of them off, of your nut bolt, whatever it is you're doing. And normally when you round something like that off, it's in a really bad spot, and it's on something really expensive. So to prevent that, just buy some decent quality stuff. That's one thing. You're not skimping, I don't think, at all, because no, this is not Snap-on, no, this is not Matco, but this is value. It's good quality stuff at a good price. It's going to last you a long time. And the reason I purchased a big set like this, like I said, was to save money, but also for a majority of things I'm going to work on, a set like this with the wrenches and all that type of stuff, I can work on just about anything I need to. And I'll go and show you some other tools as well that I've kind of added to these. But let's move on a little bit. I saw these adjustable wrenches in here, and I do kind of want to point that out. If you use adjustable wrenches a lot or a little, I think it's better to just get one or two good quality ones. I've seen cheap ones not hold. Like this is adjustable, right? It moves around. That's pretty tight. That does not move much. With cheap wrenches, I've seen this move like 1/8 of an inch, and that goes back to these not being machined right. If you got something flopping around 1/8 of an inch when you're trying to loosen a nut or bolt or whatever it is you're working on, you're going to round that thing off, you're going to ruin it, and it's better to just spend a little bit extra on something like this that stays in place. Like, if I set this on something, I'm working on a bolt, when I take it off and rotate it and put it back on it, it's going to be in the same spot. It's not going to be, I mean, there's tolerances and everything, but this does not move 1/8 of an inch as some cheaper wrenches I've seen. And that goes with a lot of people bash Harbor Freight. I have Harbor Freight sockets here and here. I mentioned these a while ago. I bought these when I was starting out. I mean, I was young when I bought these, and I was like, yeah, that's a good deal. That's 20 bucks, you know. I ended up spending $20 here and $20 there and $20 here and $20 there. Well, I done racked up $80 in this little set, where what I was telling you, that was a little over $300 for all that stuff. So that's something to keep in mind when you're buying tools. Yeah, you think you're saving money in the beginning, but in the end, you could have just got that. So that's how I ended up with these tools. Some stuff you gotta get as a set. Like these are ball end, you know, Allen's or whatever, Allen sockets. I don't know, my brain's flat right now. These are ball end Allen wrenches that goes on a socket, that goes on a ratchet. These were from Harbor Freight. These were not cheap, but you can't really buy. I've never seen these in a set, so this is something you got to get kind of separate. These are good quality. They're Harbor Freight, like I said. The only problem I've had, I also have American ones and I have German ones, right? The reason I bought the American and the German ones is because these are the ones I mainly used, but I broke these a lot. And then I'll break out the American ones or whatever German ones, and their tooling is just better. The steel's better quality. And like I said, when I broke this, I didn't have another one of these, so I just went and used one of those, and it got the job done. Never broke any of those. I've broken these a lot. That being said, Harbor Freight offers lifetime warranties on their stuff, and if I broke this, I could snap this in half right now, take it to Harbor Freight, and they would replace it for free. Most of their hand tools have that. So that's something to keep in mind. I mean, do you need backups of stuff? Are you using stuff every single day? For specialty stuff, like, I mean, I don't really consider this a specialty item, but for stuff like this, when I saw this little set right here, it reminded me, you guys would probably be asking me, why didn't you just use the American or German ones if you had, if you had those, or if you were breaking those, why are you going to use them? Well, let me explain to you. This is Wera. It's very expensive stuff. A lot of German and American tools are very expensive over the Chinese option, okay? This little set right here, I think I paid $70 something for it, but I think it's over 100 right now. This was on sale when I bought it. The reason I bought this is because it's extremely convenient. Again, it's kind of one of those things where it was like a kit. I can just grab this if I need to go work on something. I used to be in maintenance. I would throw this in a little, this is a perfect example. A lot of the guys I work with carried a toolbox. I mean, this size, they roll it to every single machine they work on. I carried a tool bag that had just about everything that they had in. I mean, it didn't have like full sets of sockets and all that stuff, but you guys kind of get it. I was like adjustable wrenches, pliers, needle nose, stuff like this. I carried this. It's like a full set of Allen wrenches. But anyways, what I was getting at is this stuff's very expensive, okay? In my mind, if I broke something like this, like if I broke this little ratchet right here, or if I broke one of these sockets, I would probably be sick at my stomach and want to throw up, okay? If I broke this, I don't care so much because I can just take it to Harbor Freight the next day and get it replaced. This is a little bit more work, even, and that's another thing. Harbor Freight doesn't really care. A company like this, they're going to say, well, you were misusing it when you broke it. Go buy another one. And like I said, the set's very expensive. Well, one of these little sockets is probably $10 each or something like that. So that's something to keep in mind. And that's why I personally buy stuff like this, because if I broke it, I don't want to throw up because I lost a whole ton of money. You know what I mean? So that's why, if you're wondering, well, where you got the German and American ones, but then that's why. Because if I break that, I'm not going to get sick of my stomach. Let's move on to the next thing. Before I move on, I want to clear something up. I've never dealt with Wera's warranty department direct. I've never broken anything. Don't know anybody that's ever dealt with them. I was just giving an example of how a large company could respond to you if you broke one of their tools, versus Harbor Freight. You break it, you take it back, get another one. It's the only point I was trying to get across. So Wera is very high quality, very good stuff. It's just very expensive as well. Now that we got most of this stuff in this drawer knocked out, I've already showed you the wrenches that came with that set we talked about. I showed you the ratchets. Ooh, Tekton. Okay. So don't know if you guys have ever heard of Tekton. Tekton. This stuff is pretty, I mean, it's really high quality, and it's really affordable as well for what it is. These are swivel ratchets and all this type of stuff. Not showing you the particular tool. I want to tell you about the brand because it reminded me of something. Tekton has huge tool sets as well. I mean, you can get huge wrench and socket sets and all that type of stuff. So you might want to check them out if you can't find a deal locally. I read a lot of reviews on this company, and they got really high ratings. From what I read, the warranty on them is lifetime. But the process is, let's say I snap this off today. Snap it off, right? So apparently you can just take a picture of it broken, send a picture to the customer service team, give them a little bit of information, they'll send you a new one. That's the reviews I read, and I read through hundreds of reviews, okay? So Tekton is a pretty good company, and from what my experience with them, really high quality too, really affordable. Just wanted to mention that in case you guys were looking for a good set of tools. All right, this is something that I cannot stress enough. Don't skimp on bits. You gotta buy good quality bits, whether it be Milwaukee, DeWalt, Bosch, doesn't matter. Just get a good quality name brand bit. I bought some off-brand bits. In this case right here, I got some off-brand stuff in here, and by off-brand I mean there's literally no name on it, okay? It's just a container of bits. I had broken those things. I want to show you for an example. Like, you can put these type of bits in this driver, right? It's kind of like a universal deal. I have broken bits like this with the manual driver. Okay, that's not good at all. That's garbage, because this is made, you know, a lot of people put these in drills and impacts and all that type of stuff. If I broke it with my hand, you know you're going to snap it off with a drill or an impact. Okay, so just don't waste your money on this type of stuff. Get some good brand bits and drivers. Okay, I got these at Harbor Freight. These are like nut driver deals. I use them for self-tapping screws a lot. What I liked about them was they had magnets in them. You can stick your self-tapping screw. Stick your self-tapping screw in there, and when you go to drive with it, it holds it in place. That's really nice. Issue with these is you can see the magnets missing. The magnets do not stay in these things very long, but they're affordable. And when I use these things, I use them a lot. These things have a lot of use on them. Like I said, the magnet did come out. If I can find them, or if I could have found a magnet, I could have put a little bit of epoxy or something like that on it, put it back in there, but I couldn't. I'll note that next time, I guess. But like I said, these are so affordable. Stuff like that doesn't really matter. I'm not upset about that. But bits, get good bits. Here's some electrical tools. Stuff like this, it just really depends on how much you use it. If you're not going to be using a set of wire strippers very much, you don't need to go spend $30 on a set of Kleins. Okay, you can get the Harbor Freight wire strippers for $5 or whatever it is. It just depends on how much you're going to be using it. In my case, I was using this stuff every single day. These crimpers, I was using every single day. These meter, I was using every single day. And usually if you get cheaper items, they won't hold up to everyday use. Wire strippers and crimpers would be very... It's just an example of something very important, that you get high quality, because, you know, this stuff's a certain size and this metal is a certain hardness and quality, right? If you get softer metal, the more you use it, the more it's going to wear, and the cutter's not going to last as long. You get all divoted up. Crimper's not going to last. I mean, you guys get the point. I'm not going to get real in detail with that, but if you're using something every single day, get high quality, especially with stuff that actually matters. Okay, if you're going to be wearing like a receptacle or chains and a light, go cheap. That's probably safe with that. On to the plier drawer. I have lots of pliers. I got more than this in my truck. I don't know, I have some kind of weird obsession with them apparently that I didn't know about. All the blue handled stuff, except for this is Klein, but all the blue handled stuff's channel lock. You can see the ones I carried with me because the handles are different color. I had some weird problem. I kept a set with me at work and a set with me at home because I don't know, I never knew when I needed stuff. That's why I did that. Anyways, let's get away from my weird plier obsession. Pliers, adjustable pliers, I would say don't skimp on those. Channel Lock's a really good brand. It's not the most expensive, it's not the cheapest either, but it's high quality. Stuff like this you don't want to skimp on because these teeth are hardened. These teeth are used to grab, and when you're really clamping down on something or trying to loosen something or grab, you don't want that stuff slipping off and breaking and damaging whatever it is you're working on. These are my lineman's pliers. I use these a lot. These are Klein. Klein's really good stuff. Again, this is an electrical tool. Like I said in the other drawer, if it's something you're not going to be using every single day, if you're only using it every now and then, it's fine to get cheaper tools, like something like that. Pliers, you're going to use pliers a lot, okay? And especially like these, I'll have all this stuff. Most of the stuff I'll show you, I'm going to have the rest of my life, I would imagine. So pliers is going to be probably a heavy use item that you should probably just spend a little extra money on and get channel lock or a higher quality name. These right here are Knipex. They're really high quality, but they're also really expensive. If you're going to be using them every single day, go with Knipex or channel lock. I carried this and this on me every day, so depending on what you're doing. Let's move on to the next drawer. Bottom drawer of my toolbox has all that's in this drawer is tire repair stuff and body repair stuff. Body repair stuff, got the cheapest stuff I could find with the best reviews. Reason being for that is I'm not using, you know, body repair stuff every single day. If somebody was denting my car every single day, I would not be making this video. I'd be in prison right now. The tire repair stuff, I bought high quality. I didn't buy the highest quality, but I got kind of mid quality, kind of like most of my tools as you've seen so far. I use this stuff quite a bit. I find that I run over nails and metal miscellaneous junk in the road all the time, and when I'm driving down the road, I usually have 8 tires in the road because of my trailer and all that. So I found it beneficial to have this stuff myself at home. I used to use the regular plug. I'm getting off subject. I'm finished my sentence right quick, but I used to find that I used regular tire plugs all the time, thought they were the way to go. But the more tire plugs I got, the more I was realizing I was having to top my tires off every day or two. So I bought the stuff to plug them right. I actually have to take the tire off of the rim, which I've gotten pretty good at that. I'll have to make a video about that too. Take the tire off the rim, plug it right, put it back on. I'm getting off subject, and I'm just gonna stop here in a second. But when you run over something, if you plug a tire, a lot of places that will plug tires for you for free won't plug it if you've already plugged it. So that's how I ended up purchasing that stuff, because I could plug my own tires and it doesn't cost me much of anything. Tire places want to sell you a tire. That's a different subject for a different day. Let's move on to the next. Pry bars. I got torque wrenches. My torque wrenches, I don't use those every single day. I don't see myself wearing that out. Not that big of a deal if I'm off 10 pounds or something, because all I'm torquing is my tires usually, or the wheels on my truck, or vehicles rather. Paint gun, got this from Harbor Freight. It's been really, really, really good. I think I paid $15 for this thing. You know, I got T-handled Allen wrenches, hardly use those. Got some pry bars. I use pry bars a fair amount, and I actually got the Pittsburgh. These are good quality pry bars. Never broken one or nothing like that. With stuff like this, a pry bar, no matter the highest quality bar you buy, if you don't use common sense, you're gonna break it. So if you use common sense with these, you're gonna be in good shape. This drawer's got lots of cutters and pliers and all that type of stuff. Again, it's kind of one of those things. I don't think any of this really. The side cutters, I would get high quality side cutters no matter what. Because if you buy a set of side cutters, if you buy stuff like this, you're obviously going to have it for a long time, or you plan to keep it, right? You're not going to buy a set of side cutters and sell them 2 days later or throw them in the trash. It doesn't make any sense. So I would get high quality stuff. I've had these since I was in high school, and I've used the heck out of these things, and they still look really good. I had 2 sets of them. Like I had 2 sets of, well, I do have 2 sets of them. Apparently I had 3 sets of them. Now let's go with that. And a buddy of mine took them out of my tool bag, and he decided that that was a good bolt cutter. And needless to say, it made me really mad, but different story. Don't use your side cutters as bolt cutters. It's not what they're for. But stuff like this, other than the side cutters, like pliers and all that, like I mentioned before, if it's something you're not using every single day, it's fine to skimp on those. All right, screwdrivers. I would say definitely don't skimp on the screwdrivers. I would get good quality screwdrivers, okay? Especially if you use flathead screwdrivers a lot, you get cheap ones. I've seen way too many of these. These are Klein. These are high quality. I've seen too many of the cheap ones, like especially flat bladed stuff, get bent and warped up, and people try to repair them and all that type of stuff. I've had these screwdrivers since I was in high school as well. I remember buying this set. I got it at Home Depot. I've had them for that long, and I used to carry these with me, carry the majorities with me every day, and never bent one. And as you know, with screwdrivers, you can really torque down on some stuff, especially when you're opening and closing panels and stuff like that. If somebody's then rigged it up and tore it up, you end up using flathead screwdrivers as pry bars and all kinds of stuff. This one being the main culprit is the pry bar. And look, it's not bent. At least I don't think it is anyway. No, it's not bent. And this thing got used as a pry bar and all kinds of stuff. So definitely, I would say buy a good set of screwdrivers, or at least a decent set. I got these Husky ones. At least get a decent set of screwdrivers. Even if you're not going to be using them every single day, you're going to eventually do something stupid that a screwdriver is not required or not made for. And you get a good quality one, you don't have to worry about bending it up or messing it up, nothing like that. And I want to say, I'm not going through all of my tools. I'm just kind of going through the majority of ones that I think would benefit you of an explanation. Okay, squares and things like that, you can kind of skimp on those if it's something you're not using every single day, because of this is a good one, but some of those are cheaper. That being said, squares, you end up dropping them and throwing them around and banging them around, stuff like that. Higher quality ones going to have higher quality steel, harder steel. I've even dropped some of the cheaper ones before and they busted in pieces. I've dropped the higher quality one and it's still intact. I've had this one for a really long time, so something to think about with that. Levels, I can't help you on the, I have good quality, high quality ones, and I have cheaper ones. The only thing I can say, if you're doing like conduit, you're bending a lot of conduit, you're using one with a magnet, stuff like that, usually you want to spend a little bit more money. They have better magnets in them. But that being said, I bought what I thought was one of the highest quality ones I could, and the magnets actually fell out of it, so I ended up having to epoxy back in. It didn't affect the quality of the level, but I guess if you were figuring you use the magnets, you need the magnets, that's something to check out there. I got some plumbing stuff in here. I would say get the mid quality on this, or this is decent quality stuff. I wouldn't cheap out on cutters and things like that, because I bought some cheap cutters, and especially these ratcheting ones. When you go to cut, you get the cheaper ones from what I've noticed, and I bought a couple of sets of cheaper ones because I was in a hurry one day, and the cheaper ones, they'll start cutting straight and they'll kind of go at an angle. I've never had that problem with the better stuff, or the better stuff, the stuff that costs a little more. These cutters and stuff, like I said, Husky, Cobalt, I've never went wrong with Husky or Cobalt stuff like this. Drill bits is another touchy thing. The spade bits and things like that, I bought, you know, like the name brand, don't go cheap, but this is a perfect example. These Irwins, I've always thought Irwin was very high quality stuff. I got these Irwins, and long story short, these old Craftsman ones that I have work better than those. Not sure what the heck, because these were brand new, and these have been used a lot. These still drill better than those do. I don't know what the explanation for that is. Diablo makes really good blades. They're high quality. They do a really well job. On drill bits, some of my drill bits that I had, I've used very expensive drill bits before. Personally, I didn't want to pay for them, so I got Harbor Freight drill bits. I have a drill bit sharpener. A lot of people use a grinder. If you can perfect that technique, go for it. But I have a lot of really small drill bits, and it's very difficult for me to sharpen with a grinder very small drill bits. So I just bought the Harbor Freight bits, and I just sharpen them more often. Not that big of a deal to me. So with drill bits, I went cheap, but I have to sharpen myself. If you get high quality I keep saying high quality. If you get more expensive drill bits, you're going to be sharpening them as well. They just cost you a heck of a lot more money. That's kind of like a use thing. I use drill bits a decent amount, and Harbor Freight was good for me. So you guys be the judge on taps and hole saws, things like that. Hole saws, get as good as you can. Hole saws actually matter. I bought cheap hole saws, and they don't even last long enough to do anything with it. Kind of like setting your money on fire. Get good quality stuff with that. Use common sense with it. If you need to, use cutting oil. Keep the thing cool. Treat it right. That'll last you a long time. Knockouts, same. Get really good quality knockouts and things like that. That'll last you a long time. Reciprocating saw blades. From my experience, you can go cheap with those. As long as you don't, like with a Diablo blade or something, you can go hardcore with those things. Like full power, press down on all that, and they still hold up. With cheaper blades, you can't do that. But if you're easy on them and you baby them, they'll last you a long time. Taps, the same way. Those taps came from Harbor Freight. They were extremely cheap in comparison to like the name brand stuff, you know. I mean, I'm talking like 3 taps would cost you what the whole set did. As long as you use common sense and don't go using a drill to try to tap a hole with, you know, they're good. I mean, that's what I have, and I use it a good bit. You'll start seeing in videos I'm tapping holes all the time or having to rethread a bolt or something like that. Never had a problem with those. Very happy with those. I hope you guys are getting some type of value out of this, because I have talked more today than I have in months combined probably. I just want to get across, you don't need to go out and buy the most expensive thing, and at the same time you don't want to get the cheapest thing, because then you'll end up like where I was explaining with the sockets, tearing your bolts and hardware up, or breaking something off and something very expensive, because I've seen it happen so many times. And I'm all about value. You know, I want to get the best that I possibly can for the amount of money I'm spending. I mean, I don't want to cheap out and get some junk, but I don't want to also spend $100 for a socket or something like that. I hope everything's making sense and kind of helping you understand. I know if I had a video like this when I was younger, it would have helped me greatly, because I remember when I was younger, I was looking up, just I'm gonna say socket sets for example, and everything was saying, oh, don't buy this brand, they're complete garbage, you know, buy this brand. And it would be something like this 2 or 3 grand. As a young kid or any age, I'm not spending thousands of dollars on some sockets. Even if I did use it every single day, that's kind of ridiculous for me. But that's the kind of stuff I was running into, and you know what I'm talking about. You read the forums and stuff like that, and everybody's bashing certain brands. In reality, those brands are not that bad. It's just people are hung up on certain brands and they feel like that is the best, even though they've never even used the other one. From my experience, a lot of people that I've dealt with will bash something that they've never even used. They've just been taught that that was garbage. And that's what I'm trying to get across to you, especially if you've never even dealt with tools or you're trying to learn something about tools. Like I said, I couldn't find anything like that. That's why I want to put this out there today. I know it's a lot of talking, it's a lot of randomness, but I'm trying to just, you know, get the point across or show you value and stuff like that, you know? So hopefully I'm doing that. Let's move on to some power tools. I'm not gonna go over all the power tools. I didn't go over all my tools. I just wanna kind of get some points across. I'm not gonna go really in depth on the power tools because I feel like this video is gonna be extremely long anyways, and I still have a lot to explain, so let's go. With power tools, that's kind of a different animal because it's really gonna, you know, you're gonna have to think about how much you're gonna be using this stuff. Is it something that you're going to be using, you know, a couple times a week? Is it something that you're gonna be using every day? Or is it something that you're just gonna be using when you're hanging a picture or something like that up? That is a huge factor when you're looking at electrical type stuff, okay? I'm gonna use a perfect example with this grinder right here, or this drill even. I'll give you 2 examples. So I said I was going to give you 2 examples with the grinder and the drill. With the grinder, I used to do a lot of welding, not so much anymore. But I want to kind of throw something at you, okay? With the grinder, yes, I don't grind every single day, but when I do grind, I usually grind for a long period of times. And I had 18-volt grinder. That thing was awesome, portable and all that stuff. And notice I said had. I burnt the thing up because they're just not made to be used for hours and hours on end. That's why I invested in, whoa, let's not go to the DeWalt. I invested in an AC power grinder because I said, well, the AC power is going to hold up better. You know, it's less current. I don't know if you know about power, but the more voltage you have, the less current generally. Not getting into that. This is my thought process. So I bought a grinder, okay? Well, I ended up burning that grinder up too. It just wasn't made to be used for hours on end. It was made to probably just clean some metal up or put a wire brush on it, clean some rust off or something. Anyways, I ended up getting the DeWalt one. And like I said, not necessarily, you don't need DeWalt. Just any like higher, like Milwaukee, DeWalt, Metabo, something like that. I've used that thing for hours straight, no joke. Never had to replace the brushes on it yet. It's not lost any power. The harder I press, the more material it takes out. It's got a lot of power. I'm very happy with it. I would think it's safe to say any like higher box store brand would, you know, you could say the same thing. But the cheaper grinder, like I said, I burn it up using it like that. Drills the same way. I had multiple 18-volt drills, and like when I get into building something, I don't stop until it's finished, if that makes sense. Even if something that's gonna take me, I have stayed up for 24, 30 hours straight building stuff before because I get hung up on it and I want to get it finished. With a drill, drilling thick metal and stuff like that, you're gonna burn it up. I mean, yeah, I don't use a drill every single day, but when I do use it, especially for a big project like that, I use it pretty heavy. So you gotta take stuff like that into consideration. Yeah, you're not using it every single day, but when you do use it, how are you using it? And you know, if you're just hanging a picture or something, yeah, it's fine to get a cheap drill, battery powered, whatever. But if you're hanging hundreds of pictures, I don't know anybody doing that. It's just an example, okay? How much are you gonna be using it? You don't use it every day, so you don't need to get the most expensive, right? Well, how hard are you using it when you're using it, okay? That's what you need to think about. That's a mistake I made. I ended up spending, I know I said in another video, I've heard the saying before, buy once, cry once. I don't really like stuff like that. It's kind of cringy to me, but it makes sense if you think about it. Like I said, I went through 3 grinders before I got that one, never had a problem with that one. So something to think about. Before I move on to another subject, this is another perfect example that I have sitting here, this table saw. I've had this table saw since 2012. If I were to use it more than 15 minutes now, it would trip the breaker. And the reason for that is it's completely wore out. We have got a lot of use from this thing. What I'm trying to explain to you, this thing was not made to be used like we're using it right now. I bought this with the intention of cutting wood every now and then, had no intentions whatsoever of starting a wood business like my wife has. We cut so much wood. This is a homeowner unit. Normally things are homeowner, residential type, and then you got like the construction type, and then you got like industrial type, continuous use, whatever. Everything's made like that. I don't know if you guys have ever paid attention, but everything is designed for a specific usage, homeowner use, commercial, industrial. This is a residential unit, like I said, perfect for me when I was only cutting a couple pieces of wood, but we wore the thing out. We had another table saw, we wore the thing out. And even the DeWalt, it's like a contractor grade. I don't know how long it's going to last. We've only had it for maybe a year or something like that now. So eventually we might upgrade to the, to the Grizzly or the Jet or the, what is it, Saw Stop or something like that. Eventually we might have to upgrade to that. What I'm trying to get across is when you buy something, how are you intending to use it? Or are you buying it with is there any chance in the future that you'll ever start a business or something like that where you're going to be using it a heck of a lot? Because I know up front it's going to cost more. I know up front it is, but in the long run, would it have been cheaper for me to buy 3 table saws or to buy 1 table saw? And you got to think with those 3 table saws that I bought, I'm just using the table saw as an example. You can replace this with anything you'd like, but was it worth all the hassle and breakdowns and issues I had with it versus just, spending the money up front? That's something you got to think about. I know I'm talking a lot in this, and I'm sorry, guys. I just want you guys to get value out of this because I wish somebody had sat me down and explained all this to me when I was younger. Guys, I was gonna try to, go through all my, or not all of it, but a lot of my power equipment and explain to you, kind of why I purchased it and things, but I think you're starting to get the point by the way I went through my tools and all that. I don't want to bore you. I want this video to be as value packed as possible, and I think I could sum the rest of this up in a couple of minutes. All the equipment that I have purchased, like my outdoor equipment, like my chainsaws, my tractor, my lift, air compressors, all that type of stuff, I have spent hours and hours, probably I would say weeks, researching this stuff. I would research the company to see how long they've been in business, how they responded to people when people needed help, like on warranty work or, stuff like that, or warranty parts. I would read forums about them. And forums are like, you have to be careful in forums, because that's what I was getting at. I was talking about earlier. People would be stuck on a certain brand and all that stuff. So you got to be careful with forums. But I would research things, like I said, the company, how long they've been in business. If they made something, I'm just saying a chainsaw, for example. If somebody made a chainsaw, how long did they keep that particular model? Did they keep it for 2 years and then come out with another model and then discontinue the parts for that one, or did they keep it for 30 years? I always research type of stuff like that. I have no doubt that most of the equipment that I have no doubt that it'll last me the rest of my life. All I got to do is maintain it and take care of it. I have no doubt that I could call any of the manufacturers that I've chosen and tell them I need, this part that's wore out or this part that's broken. I have no doubt that they could send me another one. That's the kind of stuff I look at when I'm buying stuff that I use, or, that type of stuff for my business. It gets used every day. It's nice to know how to work on your own stuff. I can't stress that enough. It's really good to do your own maintenance, I feel like, because if you do your own maintenance, you're going to know where certain parts are, how to take something apart. Or, for example, if you have your own business, I'm just going to use my wife, for example, that with the new laser she's got. I know you guys know all about that. If something tears up on that thing, I don't want to have to deal with paying somebody, because it's not something like that specialized, like my lift or my tractor, something like that specialized. Okay, if that thing's down for a week, First, you got to look at downtime. How much have you lost in downtime? How much are you going to have to pay somebody? You know, you done waited a week, then you got to pay somebody to come fix it for you. No telling how much that's going to cost, okay? Then you got to pay them for parts, which they're going to mark up. So long story short, if you're doing your maintenance, you're paying attention to everything, you know, a $10 part for you to replace is not going to cost $500. That's what I'm kind of getting at. So I look up the ease of maintenance on things. There's a lot to keep in mind with that type of stuff. Can you get parts? Is it reliable anyway? You know, what kind of warranty on it? Because usually warranties will tell you a lot about something. If something's got a 90-day warranty, and it's something, I'm just using an example as a tractor. If a tractor has a 90-day warranty, I think I would run for that, because that means that they think that thing's not going to last more than 90 days versus tractor's got an 8-year warranty. They base that off of hours and usage and all that type of stuff, the 8 years. I mean, obviously they're not talking about using it 2,000 hours a year. I mean, they could, you never know, but you got to look at all that type of stuff. That's what I'm trying to get at. Parts availability, warranty, company, how long they've been in business, all that stuff. Do they give you really detailed manuals? Do they even offer work service manuals? A work service manual, I don't know if you know, but it's extremely detailed. It shows you how to rebuild the engine or rebuild a pump or rebuild transmission, stuff like that. Do they even offer stuff like that? I hope this video was very value packed. I know it was a lot of me talking. This is not a typical video for me, but I felt like when I was younger, something like this would have really opened my eyes. It would have really helped me out. I hope you guys enjoyed. If there's anything that you guys saw that I didn't talk about, or any kind of topic that I didn't touch that you guys want me to talk about, feel free to ask, and I'll get back with you. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me babble for so long. Have a good one, guys. I will see you in the next one.